What is up, Z-Fighters? It's Manga Adventures. It's been a while, and I'm so sorry to keep you guys waiting, but thanks to your continued support, the Dragon Ball Super movie coming out, and someone else wanting to tackle this idea, I gained the motivation to hopefully finish this series up. As always, I enjoyed reading the comments and was shocked that a lot of people thought Tien shouldn't have struggled with Vegeta. I expected the opposite, so that was a pleasant surprise. Speaking of the comments, after reading them, I saw a common theme that I've decided will be implemented in this video, and in doing so, made it my longest single part video yet. So hopefully you guys will enjoy it. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you do, but enough self-promotion, let's jump right in. I feel the best place to start the story is with the journey of Raditz. After trying to train Gohan, a half Saiyan with immense potential, only for the boy and his family to refuse, he wants to figure out why someone with strength wouldn't want to fight, and to do so he travels to Earth. The people on Earth are living their lives like any normal society, working, buying, selling, rinse, and repeat. But he wants to see conflict, so as he travels further north, the weather changes from clear skies to a light snowstorm that casts a white blanket on the ground. Raditz stops flying when he sees gunfire and goes down to see a group of small mercenaries shooting at a giant man, but the bullets have no effect on him. The bigger man pleads for the group to go away, but they simply reload. That's when Raditz appears, causing everyone to jump at the man who seemingly came out of nowhere. They point their guns at the Saiyan, but he simply snatches them away and throws them into the distance, causing them to run off in fear. Raditz then asks the big man, if you're strong enough to deflect bullets, why not just take them out? The giant response is because I'm stronger that I didn't want to hurt them, and with a smile introduces himself as Ader. Ader wants to thank him for his help and begins walking to the nearby village with Raditz reluctantly following behind, thrown off by his kindness. After trudging through the snow, they enter a small pink house. Ader announces he's home and tells Suno to make a plate for their guest. A woman with red hair appears from the kitchen and happily gives Raditz a plate before introducing herself and asking what his name is. But when the Saiyan doesn't answer, Suno snatches back the plate, saying rude people don't get to eat. A single bead of sweat trickles down a baffled Raditz's face. This, mixed with the delicious smell of food going straight up his nose, causes him to mutter his name. Suno then happily returns the plate and dinner begins. Small talk ensues and Suno asks if talking to the poachers worked today, but Ader says no. They brought machine guns instead of pistols. She guesses they won't stop until they get those snow dinosaurs. Raditz then interrupts, saying if you want them to stop, then force them. You have the strength to. But Ader shyly says he doesn't want to. He instead wants to try and explain to them that the dinosaurs thereafter are going extinct. Raditz then adds people only understand power, and this causes Suno to burst out into laughter. Sounds like you're just protecting. If you want to fight, go ahead, but don't put your twisted view of the world on anyone else because you're weak. The Saiyan stands up in an intimidating manner, looking down at Suno, but the redhead just stands up as well, not breaking eye contact. Her lack of fear frustrates Raditz, who breaks the kitchen table before walking out, saying he's not weak. As he flies through the sky, the voices of Vegeta and Nappa echo in his head, constantly calling him Raditz the Runt, before finally the memory of being killed by Vegeta replays just as clear as when it happened. His thoughts are interrupted by a tank rolling through the snow led by the poachers from earlier. He drops down to confront them, telling them to turn around or else. But they aren't scared. That ends until he grabs the tank and flips it upside down. If I see you come near this village again, I'll slaughter you all. The poachers flee, promising to never return. Having now cooled off, Raditz returns to Ader and Suno to apologize and adds that the poachers won't be returning. When asked what he did, Raditz just says he used his words. Though Suno doesn't accept the apology and says he has to work to pay off her table by selling firewood. He agrees only if it doesn't interfere with his trading. This is the start of his life in Jingle Village, a life he did enjoy, though he would never say out loud. He of course told Suno and Ader that he has to battle Frieza for the fate of the universe, and although the concept of the entire universe at risk is too much for Suno to grasp, she does give Raditz some parting words. Prove you're strong by coming back alive. The events of Part 2 happen per usual, and Raditz returns announcing he's home and Suno having dinner prepared for him. Their peaceful life continues until the arrival of King Cold, who's come for revenge for his son. The Z-Fighters all gather to face this threat, though Goku steps forward, telling Code he gave his son the chance to leave, but he didn't take it. Though the tyrant doesn't want to hear it and attacks Goku, but unfortunately for him, he's learned to control Super Saiyan at will. Code's attacks not phasing him, and Goku easily counters, knocking the wind out of the former king. This punch alone makes Code realize the difference in power, and he pleads for his life. Goku powers down and tells him to leave, but taking advantage of this kindness, Code tries attacking while his guard was down, but Goku powers back up and wipes him away, just as he did his son, letting out a disappointed sigh. But before he could power down, another key is felt closing in. Goku was able to block this blonde warrior. A female had appeared before the Saiyan with golden ki similar to his own. The girl smirks, impressed he could block the blow before unleashing another flurry of fists. Goku's able to block them all until she suddenly stops, powering down, smacking her teeth as she does so. Everyone gathers around the girl as the fight seems to have settled down, and she starts to explain her situation. In 3 years, on May 12th, 2 androids will attack, killing everyone except Goku, who gets sick from a heart disease. But before anyone could ask any questions, the woman throws a capsule at him, saying that is the cure, take it when symptoms appear. Raditz finally steps up, asking who she is and why they should even trust her, after just attacking out of nowhere. And that's when the woman ponders before shrugging her shoulders, muttering she should be safe if the dates are right, and walks up to Raditz. And my name is Winter, and I'm your daughter from 20 years in the future. This would be a perfect segue in what happened in this version of the future timeline, but before we get into that, I already know 10 of you are typing, Goku shouldn't have the heart virus because he didn't go to Yardrat, but that is a fan theory. If you believe it, fine, not gonna argue, but there is no proof to any theory where Goku got the virus. I personally think he got it from Earth, which is why it's in this story again. No proof of where it came from, that's just my opinion. He could have easily just as gotten it from biting Frieza's tail. Anyway, 2.5 years after the defeat of King Cole, Goku falls ill of a heart virus, leaving family and friends saddened. 6 months after Goku's death, 2 androids attack the Earth. Their power is so great, even Raditz, who had learned Super Saiyan, was no match for them. Due to Vegeta not making the artificial moon himself, he was at full power in his Great Ape form, meaning these androids, I'll say, are twice as strong as their canon counterpart, if I'm being generous. With the death of Raditz, the other Z-Fighters quickly fell as well, leaving only Piccolo, who hadn't officially joined and wasn't about to jump in just to die. So he goes off on his own to train, because if everyone's dead, he'll have no kingdom to rule. A few months into his training, he's confronted by a young Gohan wearing a scouter. His power level is so pathetic, so Piccolo doesn't stop what he's doing, simply asking what the son of Goku is doing here. A fidgety Gohan tries his best to answer the question. I want to protect my mom. Piccolo, though, isn't interested in this sob story, asking why he came to him, and Gohan just responds, my father says you aren't a bad guy. A clearly frustrated Piccolo picks up Gohan, saying, I guess your father was wrong, before throwing him into the side of a mountain. Fight or flight kicks in, and Gohan's ki spikes before vaporizing the mountain. Piccolo then smirks, although his power level is not much by his standards, is incredibly high for a child his age. So he sees merit in training him. Just like canon, Piccolo leaves him on his own to learn the basics, but Goku had cut off his tail after realizing what a Great Ape was from Raditz, so there was no worry about Great Ape Gohan. After getting used to the wilderness, Piccolo trains him up for real, and thanks to Gohan being a half Saiyan with immense potential, it only takes him a while to catch up to Piccolo, and the two grow together after that point. And while they were training, Bulma went on the hunt for the Dragon Balls, finding 6, but unfortunately one was found by 18, who keeps it as a beautiful necklace. When Gohan hears of this, he sets off to gather the last Dragon Ball, overly confident in his ability due to being as strong as Piccolo, because after years of hearing town after town being destroyed, he wants to end this threat once and for all and bring everyone who's died back with the Dragon Balls. He finds Android 17 and 18 playing a game of who can kill the most people. He starts to confront them, but is shot by 17, thinking he's just another kid. And Gohan gets back up, surprising the android. 18 thinks her brother just didn't put enough power into it and tries stealing the point for herself, only to have Gohan deflect the blast. The two androids then realize this must be a kid of one of the Z fighters. They then smile at each other, agreeing that whoever kills him gets 100 points. 17 and 18 then rush Gohan at the same time. When Gohan blocks a flurry of punches from 17, 18 comes in with a drop kick, having him focus his attention on her instead. 17 then uses this chance to shoot a beam of energy at one of Gohan's arms, putting it out of commission. The two then once again rush the boy, but this time attacking together, and with only one arm, Gohan doesn't even hold them off for a second, and is just furiously beaten down by the two androids, clearly enjoying this. But 17 is in it for the win and jumps back to fire a massive ki blast. 18 notices this and jumps out the way in an attempt to fire her own. The two attacks merge into one, and Gohan closes his eyes to brace for the end. But instead of seeing King Yama, when he opens his eyes, he sees Piccolo standing in front of him. The Namekian falls over and Gohan rushes over asking why he did this. And Piccolo, with tears running down his face, tells him he couldn't just sit back and watch his best friend die. These are the last words Piccolo mutters, and the Dragon Ball around 18's neck turns to stone. Android 18 is upset that her necklace is ruined now, but 17 just laughs, wondering how many points the green one's worth. But Gohan grips his fist, rage boiling inside him before screaming, "This isn't a game," as his hair turns golden. He holds up his only working hand as a massive spiral of yellow energy gathers before screaming, "Maseko." This attack is so powerful it damages the clothes on 17 and 18 at once. The two are pissed off and are ready to kill Gohan, but he's already gone. Tears in his eyes as he carries away the lifeless body of Piccolo to give him a proper burial. From then on, Gohan takes his training much more seriously until the day a small girl named Winter came to train with her cousin so she could protect her mom. Gohan smiles, reminiscing his first meeting with Piccolo, and agrees to train her. After this, the events of the future timeline happen like usual. Just replace Trunks with Winter. When the story is over, Winter places her hand on a baffled Raditz shoulder, saying you're in for some big news when you get back home, giving a playful grin before jumping back in the time machine and taking off. The Z Fighters all gathered concerned about the upcoming threat in 3 years, but Goku suggests what they always do and says they just have to train harder than ever. Though Raditz isn't satisfied with this answer after hearing this story, if training was enough, they wouldn't have died in the first place. So he suggests something more. There's a planet called Yardrat that has strange techniques that can give them all advantages in the upcoming battle. If Vegeta knew about Yardrat, there's no reason Raditz wouldn't either. With nothing to lose and new training opportunities always welcome, they have Bulma work with her father to build a ship using Goku's space pod, which would take about a month to do so. The Z Fighters split in preparation to leave at a moment's notice. Raditz goes home to Suno, who's happy to see him return. He tells her the good news that they defeated Code, and she responds with good news of her own, announcing she's pregnant. Meanwhile, Goku retells the stories of the future timeline to Chi-Chi and Gohan and explains he's going to train for 3 years and maybe go off world to prevent it. Gohan, worried about everyone, asks if he should train too, wondering if he could help unlike his future counterpart. Goku doesn't mind training him, but only if he wants to. He tells his father that he'll only train until the androids are defeated so that no one has to die. When Dr. Briefs finishes the ship, Goku and Raditz decide not to be the first trip to Yardrat. Raditz, remembering how adamant his mother was about Bardock being there for Kakarot, wanted to be there for his child's birth and their first few months of life. And Goku didn't think Yardrat was a good starting point to train Gohan, so he needs to be trained up before taking that huge step. This leaves only the human Z Fighters to go on the first trip to Yardrat, taking a little over a week, seeing as Namek is 6 days away and the Ginyu Force was able to come from Yardrat to Namek in only around 4 days. When the humans arrived on Yardrat, they are welcomed with open arms by the Yardratians for defeating the Ginyu Force, and they agreed to train them as thanks. It will take the humans 150 days to get the hang of this advanced ki control, the same amount of time it took Goku in the original timeline, but once they do and have a better understanding of ki, they want to try giving the Kaioken another try. Similar to how Goku wasn't just learning spirit control on Yardrat, he was also learning how to control Super Saiyan. The humans now are learning Kaioken by the lessons from both King Kai and the Yardratians until they each can use it with confidence and even begin to push the multiplier to newer heights. But even though this was amazing, this isn't what they came to learn, and they each asked the Yardratians for a technique. Being the Senzu Bean guy and the brash Goku's best friend, Krillin decides to learn how to heal just in case they ever run out of Senzu Beans, and to get Goku back in the fight stronger than ever. Tien, already having an inferior version of cloning in the multi-form technique, which halves your power with each copy, decides to learn true cloning, which would make copies with no power drain. This is also good for him since he's always looking for a sparring partner. The insecure Chaozu learns gigantification to tower over his enemies, and his socket powers would help him with that, in my opinion. As for Yamcha, he's fine with just learning instant transmission just in case he gets in over his head and can make a quick escape. With their goals set, it takes them some time to learn the techniques, but after they do, they are extremely satisfied with their growth. It took them just under 2 years to learn spirit control, an advanced technique, and the high levels of Kaioken, which I feel is fair. Yamcha instant transmissions the group back to Earth in the middle of the sparring of Super Saiyan Raditz and Goku. You see, while the humans were on Yardrat, Raditz, motivated to protect his family from this upcoming threat, unlocked Super Saiyan, and after learning to control it, made a good sparring partner for his brother, who didn't see much growth beforehand due to training up a much weaker Gohan, who is all trained up now, by the way. The three Saiyans are transported to Yardrat, and since Goku already knows Super Saiyan alongside Raditz, he can spend the full year training with the Yardratians. Goku told Yamcha not to wait up because he'll learn instant transmission to send them home. Gohan wants to learn healing because he really doesn't see himself as a frontline fighter, and Raditz likes the idea of gigantification. It reminds him of his grade 8 form. The day of the androids has come. The group heads to the location that was meant to be attacked and split up to find them. And just like the original, Yamcha is the first to come across them being grabbed by the mouth and having his energy drained. But in this version, he muffles Kaioken under Dr. Gero's hand, the surge of power allowing him to break free before he gets impaled in the chest. The other Z fighters come to the spike of power, and Krillin is quick to give Yamcha a Senzu Bean before they head off to a more secluded location. But instead of Goku fighting, Yamcha says it's best for him to step up, explaining these androids have a strange ability to absorb ki. Yamcha takes a deep breath before shouting Kaioken times 40. You see, like the original, Dr. Gero stopped watching after the battle with Vegeta, so he's surprised by this trick that didn't appear in this version of the story by that point, but is still confident in his creation. Now, if a sick Super Saiyan Goku can knock around, not even fight, but knock around Android 19 like a test dummy before he got his energy absorbed, then this version of Yamcha, who's done a lot more training than his counterpart, would have the same results. Difference is, he wouldn't make the mistake of firing a beam attack like Goku did, which multiplied the android's energy. He would stick to hand-to-hand combat, and when 19 thinks he has an opening, he tries grabbing Yamcha, but the warrior just counters with the wolf fang fist, breaking 19's arms, causing them to dangle about. With no fear of energy absorption, Yamcha charges up his spirit ball before throwing it like a baseball straight through the android's body, but the assault isn't over as he controls the ki attack to return over and over again, each time taking off a limb from 19 until he's only a head. With his partner defeated by one of the weaker Z fighters, Gero is nervous to stick around, but unlike the original where Vegeta lets him go when he tries to escape, a clone of Tien made earlier just in case kicks him to the ground. When Gero looks up, surrounded by 4 copies of Tien, Gero tries making a break for it, but each Tien flares up their Kaioken and then begins kicking him around like a pinball machine. And when the beating is over, 2 of the clones hold his arms as the other 2 fire a flurry of Dodon rays that leave the doctor scared. The 2 Tiens rip off his arms for good measure as the doctor falls to his knees, muttering to himself that he should have just activated 17 and 18 before his eyes go dark. The Z fighters all look around each other, wondering maybe they overtrained for the occasion, but a win is a win no matter how easy it was. This is when Goku admits that his heart started to feel funny. Even before he turned Super Saiyan, he was struggling just to fly around, and with the androids defeated, there's no reason to keep this secret anymore. It takes less than a second for Yamcha to instant transmission Goku over to Chi-Chi, who has the medicine, though as soon as Goku and Yamcha leave, Winter arrives confused at the situation. She sees a decapitated mime and an old man full of holes. Everyone jokes around saying she's late for the party, but she just looks up with concern, asking who are these guys? It then clicks in everyone's heads that these aren't the androids that caused trouble for the future timeline, but two unrelated ones. Now everyone is concerned about the real androids, wondering where they could be. So they decide to go to Bulma, thinking maybe she can make something to help locate the androids, since they don't have ki. Meanwhile, there's an even bigger threat on the horizon. Imperfect Cell has come from another timeline looking for 17 and 18 to become perfect. And obviously, the first place he would check is Jiro's lab. Unlike the original, Jiro never fled to go find his secret base in a cave, meaning no battle was taking place there after the androids awaken. So Cell sees no threat in checking it out, and a very pleasant surprise is waiting for him. Both androids 17 and 18 are still asleep, awaiting activation, but they'll never get their chance. Cell absorbs both of them without hesitation, not even allowing them the time to realize what's going on. He briefly goes from a semi-perfect form before becoming perfect. With a smile, Perfect Cell seemingly scans the area before flying off, arriving in no other place than Capsule Corp with the other Z-Fighters. He asks them politely if they can help him warm up. The Z-Fighters are shocked at this new challenger, but all of them charge up. Raditz and Winter become Super Saiyan, Krillin, Tien, and Chaozu use Kaioken, and they all rush the Bio Android, who doesn't even so much as flinch at the attacks coming from all directions. Eventually Cell cracks his neck before throwing 3 punches so fast that they seem to have not happened at all, sending Krillin, Tien, and Chaozu flying. An agitated Cell says this could barely count as a warm-up. Where is Son Goku? I won't let you near my brother, Raditz says as he gets in a stance to fire his Saturday crash. But before the ki could even leave his hand, Cell gets behind him and breaks the arm he was going to use the attack with. Raditz holds his arm and cries out in pain. Winter sees this and screams out in rage, charging at Cell, but the bio android catches her by the throat before pulling her close. Do you know where Goku is? Winter then spits in Cell's face before muttering, he's sick, but once he's cured, you'll go down like every other villain. This causes Cell to ponder for a brief second before letting go of Winter, who gasps for air when he does. Good news, I won't kill you this time. Instead, I'll hold a tournament in 10 days to decide the fate of the world. With that announcement, Cell leaves and the Z-Fighters are there to lick their wounds, not knowing how they could win. They head to Goku and check up on him, and he's healing from the heart virus. But unlike Canon, he didn't go Super Saiyan, so he's still conscious. After hearing the situation, he suggests they go to the room with Spirit of Time to train. 1 year in there is only a day on the outside. Feeling humiliated, Raditz wants to go in first alongside Winter, who felt just as useless. But before she goes in, she gets her potential unlocked by Kami, giving her a surge of power to help keep up with her father. Now, unlike Vegeta and Trunks, who went in together but didn't train together, Raditz and his daughter Winter have no such issues. Just like everyone else, they would discover grade 2, but when Winter tries pushing it to grade 3, Raditz is there to explain why that's a bad idea. So they stick with grade 2 for a while until they realize the weakness of this form as well. Yeah, it's stronger and faster, but it won't be good for a long fight, which could be the case for this upcoming battle against Cell. So they finally agree the original Super Saiyan is the best and they need to master that form. They didn't figure this out as fast as Goku, but they still got there by training together. But growth and power isn't the only thing that happens. The father and daughter start to get to know each other. Winter respected her father's strength. He made so much headway in a single year that she couldn't do her whole life. Not only that, he told her countless stories of his youth, going to countless planets and fighting different opponents, and coming out on top each time. This motivates Winter to do her best and not fall behind. The two have finished their training, walking out the time chamber as grade 4s, impressing everyone with their power. Goku is now eager to go in the time chamber with Gohan, his son getting his potential unlocked before they go in, since he put that off to see how strong he can get without it. Though after this, everything happens the same, with the exception of Gohan getting a gi like his father instead of Piccolo's gi. Another change in the story would be who goes into the time chamber next, which is Tien and Krillin. Now in the original, Tien didn't go in because he felt there was no point, he can never reach the level of Goku and Gohan. But in this version, he has a lot more confidence after going to Yardrat and learning the Kaioken. He may not catch up to the Saiyans or even get close, but he won't be completely left in the dust either. And to get stronger, he needs someone close to his strength, which is none other than Krillin, who in the original took 16 to Capsule Corp. So in this version, he also doesn't want to get left too far behind and joins Tien in the time chamber. Now the training isn't what we're going to focus on, it's really the conversation that happened in there that's important. The two humans have just finished another day and are satisfied by the results before bringing up what's going to happen after the Cell games. Krillin proudly proclaims that he's going to open up the Turtle School to the world. He's proof that humans can go incredibly far if taught, and after returning from Yardrat, he even made a new training regiment for the Turtle School, which includes everything he's experienced from Roshi to Yardrat. Tien also had a similar idea as seen in canon, but the training and results on Yardrat sped up his resolve to do so. He wants to put the Crane School in a good light, and Krillin just smiles, saying they'll need a good rival school to push them to greater heights, and Tien happily agrees. They leave the time chamber not only rivals, but their dreams fortified. Yamcha and Chaozu also enter the time chamber, but Yamcha just wants to go back to his normal life, not wanting to be a fighter, and Chaozu just wants to support whatever dreams Tien has. So with the time chamber done, before we go to the Cell games, we can explore what Raditz and Winter did to relax. Similar to what Goku and Gohan did, they return home and just spent quality family time. Winter gets to see a younger version of her mother, who is absolutely ecstatic to see her and proud that she became such a fine young woman, and wants to catch up with her, making a nice hot cup of cocoa. Before they talk, a single sip fills Winter with years of nostalgia. It's a drink she hasn't had since she was a child, before she started training with Gohan, proof that this really is her mother, not that she doubted it. She spent the days before the Cell games in true bliss, talking with her mother, playing with animals alongside Ader, and chopping firewood with her father. This truly was the happiest she's been in a long time. Skip forward a few days to the Cell games. The first round, just like the original, is Goku versus Cell, but the outcome is vastly different. All the statements saying Goku is clearly outmatched are put onto Cell instead. Roshi, Korin, and Raditz all say Goku has the upper hand, and it's just seeing how strong Cell could get. But why is this version of Goku so vastly above Cell? Well, to explain, in this what if, Goku was nearly 10 times stronger than his canon Namek counterpart. He still trains on Yardrat like the original, but on top of that, he has a sparring partner in Super Saiyan Raditz, who more or less is his equal, unlike canon Goku, who was training with Piccolo or Gohan, who were vastly weaker than him. On top of this version of Gohan is definitely stronger. Although he started his training later in life, he had much better training partners than Saiyan Saga Piccolo to teach him. Not only that, he went to Yardrat and has better understanding of ki control and got his potential unlocked at a later point, with Raditz and his daughter Winter also serving as a golden power since they came out the time chamber first and had already learned grade 4. And if that's still not enough, Cell isn't tens of times stronger than Goku. He would only be 2 to 4 at most. The reason I'm saying this is because Goku calmly states that Dabura is about the same strength as Cell. And right now he's facing a Super Saiyan 2 Gohan who slacked off in his training with no rage boost. Meaning, if we're being generous, this is a Gohan who's as strong as his team self with only a 2 times amp on top of him. Speaking of Team Gohan, he forced Cell to use his true speed in their fight. If you still don't agree with Goku molly-whopping Cell, please explain why. I'd love to hear your reasoning, but the story must go on for now. Just like in the original, Cell is shocked that someone could possibly be stronger than him, aiming a Kamehameha at the Earth, only for Goku to counter with an even bigger Kamehameha wave. Now the difference in power is clear, and Cell would die after this attack. In the original, Gohan was clearly holding back to make Cell suffer, but Goku wanted the fight to end, and there's no reason to change that here. He knows not to corner a fighter because the worst could happen. Without Cell being mocked and humiliated, he doesn't try to self-destruct, which means everyone lives. An epic but anticlimactic victory. Everyone cheers as Goku powers down. The cameras, which weren't destroyed due to the battle being much tighter, catch this, and the King of Earth recognizes Goku as the boy who defeated King Piccolo, and he won't let his heroics go unnoticed a second time. Winter is the only one unhappy with her arms crossed. The next day, Winter prepares to go back to the future. Both family and friends come in to say goodbye, though she stops before entering her time machine, challenging Gohan to a fight to prove her father is a greater fighter than his. Goku, eager to see a fight, eggs Gohan to do so as well, telling him not to hold back. The two stand across each other, going full power Super Saiyan, two powers that shake the earth. Winter is the first to attack with her usual flurry of blows that sees no end in sight, but Gohan is able to block them. Frustrated that her blows aren't landing, she begins attacking from all directions instead of straight. This allows her to catch Gohan off guard and send him flying. Goku shouts it isn't fair to her if you don't fight back, and Gohan apologizes and gets back up, charging up his ki even more. Now Gohan begins clashing with her blows, their fists colliding shakes their bodies and even the surrounding area on impact. This fight is going on for a long time. Winter is a brawler using power and stamina to overwhelm her opponents so they don't get back up, but Gohan prefers countering and waiting for the right time to strike, similar to Goku. So although the two are fairly even, Gohan is slipping in more attacks than Winter. Frustration that brings her close to tears, mixed with the desire to prove her father is amazing, gives Winter a surge of power that brings the young woman to new heights. Lightning aura surrounds her usual golden ki, and as everyone is still in shock at this power, Winter seemingly teleports behind Gohan, chopping him in the neck, reverting him to base, and ending the fight. This is not only the result of training between Winter and Raditz, but the bonds between a father and his daughter. She powers down and walks to her father with a bloody smile. This is proof that you're just as amazing as Uncle Goku. These words give Raditz newfound confidence, giving him the right direction and leaving his brother's shadow. Winter goes back to her time to defeat her androids, thus ending the Cell Saga. Believe it or not, that video was over an hour long because I wanted to come back with a bang, but I cut out a lot of fluff to make it more digestible. But despite that, I tried doing a lot of new things, like giving the humans Kaioken and making them semi-relevant in the story, which is what the people asked in the comments of part 2, and I hopefully did it in a realistic way. Also expanding not only my version of Raditz but his daughter was mostly what I cut out. Basically just 20-ish minutes of dialogue between the two sprinkled throughout the story, which would have been a better lead up onto how Winter became Super Saiyan 2. But hopefully I left enough in for you guys to still enjoy their characters. Tell me what you guys think of these two. Basically fan-made characters. The only thing I can really see a problem with is people saying Gohan should have also had Super Saiyan 2, but it took him a lot emotionally to unlock that form. Literally everyone was going to die to the Cell Juniors, and even that wasn't enough. It took a speech from 16 to do so, along with his head getting crushed. So that's my justification for it. Hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, like, comment, and subscribe so I know you want a part 4. And for those who do comment below, how do you think the changes I made will affect the Buu arc? Can't wait to see you next time. Have a good one.